Welcome, friends, to our Tuesday's practice titled Yoga Moving Forward. So we are finishing up the month focused on pelvic health. So what I'd like to very briefly is summarize why it's important. Okay, so let's call it pelvic health awareness. 1, we breathe better, functional breathing. 2, we stand better, right? When we're able to release those unconscious tension patterns in our body that pull us off that tall posture. We move better. So this place of allowing our pelvis to be strong, stable, and mobile. And then the last piece I'd like to do to keep it simple is this place of emotional regulation, right? That be able to tap into that deep resource of a sense of well-being. So I have nicknamed this class Steady Center. Okay, friends, welcome to class. Let's get started. So we're going to start in a tall seat. So find a comfortable posture. And what I'd like to do is start in a little bit of conscious tension. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Draw your elbows towards your ribs and then lightly squeeze your elbows in. Maybe even drop your chin down a little bit so it's a little tiny flexion of the spine. All right, so just notice. And then release out of that place, soften the shoulders, and let the elbows float just a little bit out to the sides. Okay, and then let's repeat that. Hug those elbows in just a little bit. Drop your chin down. And then start to think of maybe your elbows as your lower ribs. So inhale, let them expand out just a little bit. Full breath in. And exhale, hug your elbows in. All right, so feel your spine lengthening up, elbows lifting. And hug your elbows in. Release your hands down to your legs, lengthen your spine. And then turn the nose over to the left. Okay, so releasing some tension from the neck area. And then use your eyes to look in the periphery, right, where we can bring ourselves back into that nervous system regulation using our eyes. You might notice your breath. Return everything back to center, steady center. Draw your elbows in. Okay, now we're going to start to make that movement a little bigger. Right, so squeeze, drop your chin to your chest, make that little C curve, feeling your abdominals engage. And then inhale, lift your chest, float your elbows out just a little bit. So breathing from those lower ribs, diaphragm expanding. Exhale, elbows in, C curve. Feel your body, feel your breath. Okay, release back into the center. And now turn your nose over to the right. All right, so no forcing, go slow, just allowing those neck muscles to release without forcing. And then add the layer of your eyes. All right, so use your eyes to look in the periphery. Right, I notice that when I turn my head in this direction, my breath gets a little short. Right, so soft breath. Okay, release back to center. Let's drop into that protective mudra, and I'll be in opposition here, where your right hand crosses over close to your chest, and then cross your left wrist over the right. Okay, so this is that place of it helps with alignment, relaxing shoulders, and also being for yourself. All right, all right. As you inhale, gather the energy in towards your center, and exhale here. Here's the movement. Inhale, reach your arms up the midline. Doesn't have to go very, very far. Just find a comfortable place. And then when you're ready to exhale, release the arms out to the side, like a fountain. Inhale, gather it in, reach it up. And a soft release on the way down. All right, one more. Okay, let's release that pattern and come straight down onto the back to have that breath excursion or that breath awareness. All right, so once you come down onto the mat, make sure that your head is comfortable. Place your hands on the lower part of your abdomen. Okay, so we're going to start with it being an exhale focus here. So take a regular breath in, just notice. Okay, a slow, steady exhale as you firm your lower back lightly. Pelvic floor contracts and lifts up, and you hollow out between those hip bones. Okay, repeat that 2 more times. Inhale is just softening. All right, so thinking about the pelvic floor. Right, and as you're exhaling and contracting the pelvic floor, so there's no need to grip, just feel it contracting and lifting lightly. Okay, release that breath focus and draw your hands out towards your hip bones. So we're going to use the hands on the hip bones to sense our pelvis moving in space. Okay, so it's going to start here. Press your tailbone in towards the earth. Feel that anterior tilt or back arch. Okay, so we've placed our pelvis in a position to begin to lengthen the pelvic floor on the inhale. So nice and easy. Soft breath in, pelvic floor lengthening. And then as you exhale, let the pelvis return to neutral. Right, so no forcing, just allowing all of that tension to release naturally. And explore that movement one more time. Just layering the inhale with the back arch. Okay, give yourself a moment just to become aware and tune back in mindfully of what's here now. And now we're going to begin unraveling some unconscious tension that pulls our posture forward. So this is one of those movements from somatic movements from Thomas Hanna. Begin lifting your right knee and place your left hand on your right knee. Okay, so right hand will go behind the head if that's comfortable for you. And if not, you can simply keep it on your chest. All right, so here's the movement. We'll do the first one together. Pull the right knee in towards your chest and draw your right elbow towards your knee. And just notice how you explore that the head naturally turns. Just allow that natural organization of the body. And then when you feel ready, release your elbow down. Keep your hand on your knee and your knee lifted. Okay, don't worry about your breathing pattern. Just find a steady movement 3 more times. Right? Just be curious what shape your body is making. And then when you've completed those rounds, lower the foot down, lower your arms by your sides. Maybe place your hands on your belly. Inhale to your hands. Exhale, slow, easy. As you start to gather in your abdominals, maybe firm your lower back a little bit. Right, so consider this bringing your nervous system back into a place of ease. One more, that diaphragmatic breathing. Okay, and then release that breath. And then let's start that somatic movement on the other side. So left knee comes up, right hand holds the knee. Okay, option for left hand behind the head. Okay, let's do the first one together where you pull your knee into your chest and your elbow towards your knee. And then just notice the movement of the head, not trying to make it be anything, just allow it to open. And then be curious how it unwinds as you lower it back down. Hold on to the knee. Okay, steady your pace. 3. Right, you might start to notice those deep core connection, side waist. Or maybe your focus is on your neck. Right, so the more we can release the tension from the upper body, it helps support releasing the tension from the pelvis. And then once you've completed that movement, release everything down and take a tall posture on the floor. So slide your heels out. All right, let your attention drift towards your low back and your hips. So we do want the natural curve of our low back, right? We just don't want it to be too tight or unstable, but we do want a healthy low back curve. Okay, just notice how it feels. Okay, now let's continue with a little bit of low back care. Drag both heels in, lift up both knees, and place your hands on both knees. So maybe you weave back to what we remember where the psoas connects to the femur bone, right? So that femur bone is that big leg muscle between your knee and your hip. So draw your right knee towards your right armpit so you feel that femur bone drifting out to the right, remembering that the psoas connects to the top of that bone. And then do the reverse. Press the left knee away and slide it slightly out to the side. Okay, so not trying to force an opening. And now bring it back to the center. And then shift to the other side. So find your groove here, move in a relaxed way. So this would be the mobility, just allowing the bones of the legs to move freely. In the pelvis. Okay, and then once your brain maps where the legs are going, let your head rock from side to side. All right, so once again, releasing the tension at the neck. Breathe and move. All right, so the more that we can create ease through the pelvis, that sense of well-being is available. All right, so we're not pushing away anything or wanting anything to be different. Just creating a little bit of space there. Okay, the next time the knees come towards each other, drop your feet down onto the earth. And if you have high propping underneath your head, lower the propping. We're going to lift up into a bridge. Okay, as you begin to firm your feet into the mat, begin lifting your pelvis up slowly. Okay, maybe room for the top as you begin lifting up your pelvis. Start to think about your knees. Start sending your knees forward. And as you send your knees forward, think about the team of muscles at the pelvis. Right? So as soon as you send your knees in that forward, the gluteal muscles in the back start to engage. Okay, so this stability in the pelvis. Right, smooth your breath out here. And just notice where the mind is. And then slowly lower the pelvis down. As you lower the pelvis down, sense the earth holding the pelvis. So soften the muscles once the pelvis comes down. And then here's a stretch. Slide the right leg out. And then reach the right arm out to the side and upward. Okay, so everybody's body is a little bit different, right? So as you reach your arm upward, it's starting to open up through the upper psoas, right? So maybe you reach straight up, maybe you reach on a diagonal, right? Maybe it's just your arm is down by your sides. So not trying to stress yourself out by your body position, but trying to release the tension chain at the hip. Okay, take a breath in. And a relaxed breath out. Release your arm down by your side. And now we're going to do the balance of stability and releasing tension. So begin pressing your left foot lightly into the mat, and then notice the pelvis starts to firm into the earth. And then once you feel that light core connection by pressing your foot, flattening your lower back, put a little bend in the right knee. So drag the heel in just a little bit. And then once you feel the firmness or the stability of the low back, lift the foot up a couple of inches. Okay, so this position, you can access a deep sense of core stability, right? So deep in the belly, deep into the hips. Okay, see if you can sense the steadiness of the pelvis, right? It being relatively neutral. Okay, now lower the foot down, relax all of those muscles on both sides. Take a breath in. And now let's put a little bit of movement in there. Exhale, firm the left leg, drag the right heel in, lift up just a little bit to finish the breath. And then inhale, relax it down. All right, sense the muscles, releasing the tension as you inhale. Okay, just one more. All right, sense that deep core connection. Okay, give it a moment to release all that tension from the hip crease. And now we're going to progress on in that same movement, but moving the femur bone out to the side a little bit. All right, so when you're ready, press through that left foot, firm your lower back, drag that right heel in, lift up, same position. Okay, now start to think about the bones in your legs. Drop the knee out to the side just a little bit. Feel that big bone, the femur bone rotating, right? You'll notice your foot is rotating as well. So that's the ankle, the knee, and the hip. See if you can steady your pelvis, right? So in other words, we're not dipping over to the side, and sense the team of muscles keeping you steady through the pelvis. Okay, roll it back into neutral. Notice what's happening in your pelvis. Lower it down. Lengthen it out. Let all the tension release, right? You might start to feel a full body tension release here. And then just repeat that movement one more time. Okay, firm the left leg, firm the back, drag it in, lift it up. Okay, try to keep the pelvis relatively in neutral so that the leg is doing the movement. Knee out to the side just a little bit. All right, a little external rotation. Notice where you feel it. And roll it back into neutral. Place it down. And let it all go. Take a breath in. Okay, slide that heel down or slide that heel back towards your body. Lift up into your low bridge one more time. All right, think about sending your knees forward. All right, allowing room for the cervical spine. And then steady your breath here. Take a couple of rounds. Sense your gluteal muscles. And then lower the pelvis back down onto the earth. Okay, it starts in a stretch. Slide that left leg out, reach that left arm comfortably. Okay, remembering just lifting your arm up is adding to that hip stretch. Feel yourself breathe. Okay, so let's continue on. Slide the arm down. All right, so back into hip release and strengthen. So let's start in strengthen. Press the right foot in, flatten your lower back. Feel the pelvis tilt just a little bit. Okay, drag the left heel in just a little bit until you can feel that back flat and deep core connection, and then lift the foot. Okay, so don't have to go very high. Feel the deep core engaging your transverse abdominis, rectus abdominis, top and bottom. Okay, so feel all of that, like let's call it deep strength through the core. Okay, now lower the heel down, give it plenty of time to release, right? So this healthy contraction and release, we want the balance of both. Okay, in your own time, 3 rounds. Sense your body. And so remembering that there's 2 sides of the pelvis and the patterns may not be exactly the same, right? You might have one half of the pelvis that's stronger, maybe pulling the position of the pelvis askew in that direction, and one side of the pelvis that's a little weaker or less tone. Okay, when you've completed your rounds, just take a breath here. And then we're going to add on with that external rotation for 2 rounds. Okay, find stability. Press through that right knee, drag it in, lift it up. Okay, start to think about the bones. Start to draw the knee out to the left. Feel the femur bone rotating out to the left. Maybe notice your foot move. And then turn your attention to your pelvis. So see if you can keep your pelvis steady so we're not dipping to one side. Okay, you might start to feel those deep hip flexors engage. Roll it back to center. Lower it down. Release all of the holding in your body, right? So you might notice that the upper body joined in to help lift the leg and rotate. Okay, one more. Just be curious of what's happening. Okay, return to tall posture one more time. All right, so turn your attention to your low back. Just notice the curve at the low back. Maybe you can sense the weight of the body. Maybe your body feels a little heavier as that gripping or holding muscles at the pelvis release a little bit. Okay, let's change shape. Draw your body into that all four shape. Okay, so the pelvic health, right, the pelvis, strong, mobile, is really to allow us to have a tall posture, healthy spine. So turn your toes under and lighten your fingertips and shift your weight back a little bit. So not a lot of weight through your hands. I'd like the focus to be on the pelvis here. All right, turn your toes under. Begin to arch your back and look up, right? So this is going to be lengthening through the pelvic floor. It's a diamond shape, so you can feel the left and right stretch, top and bottom. Take an inhale here, soft belly. Now as you exhale, draw your chin to your chest and shift your body weight forward a little bit. Tuck the tailbone forward so it's a C curve. And if you like, you can put the tops of your feet down here, right? But only if it smooths out for you. Okay, so this is called table rocking by, I think her name is Sherry Reba. Inhale, turn your toes, rock it back, arch, look up. Exhale, curl your chin in, tuck your pelvis forward, rock forward. Okay, think about your pelvis as you inhale, softening through the pelvic floor. As you exhale and shift forward, contracting through the pelvic floor, contracting your abdominals. Okay, release out into neutral spine. And then let's begin stepping that left leg forward into a lunge pose. All right, so maybe you use a block to help steady you. Step that left leg forward into a lunge and then shift your body forward. Okay, allow yourself to find a little bit of comfort here. Then we're going to start to lift the upper body. Okay, so head comes up, shoulders come up, and start to think of it as head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Squeeze on this right gluteal muscle to engage the hip flexors on the right. Okay, so now we're going to stretch out the upper portion by reaching the right arm up and over into a side bend. All right, so just allow your arm to rest maybe on your head as you start to feel the muscles between the ribs expand, right? The top of the pelvis, the psoas. And take a breath here in this opening. Okay, notice what muscles are stretching. And release out of the side bend. Shift the front leg back and come into a quiet pose here. So maybe it's child's pose, maybe it's downward facing dog. But just allow yourself to return back to your center in a relaxed way. Take a few breaths. All right, sense the low back stretching. Sense your breath moving in your body. Okay, once again, come back through all fours. Step your right leg forward into a lunge. And shift your body weight forward slowly. Okay, let's start to stack it in tall posture. All right, make your way up. All right, so I immediately notice that the chain with this leg forward, my body starts to sway a little bit from side to side. So that just lets me know that this side is not as strong as my other side. So just notice, mindfully observe. Okay, squeeze on the gluteals on the left and the back, start to stabilize it. And then reach that left arm up comfortably. And then side bend with ease. Once you find the shape, make it dynamic with your breath. Easy in, easy out. Like two more. Now you might start to notice the quadricep muscles in the legs stretching as they attach to the hip, to the pelvis. And then release out of that shape. And this time we're going to move towards standing. So slide the front leg back and then come on up. So let your feet be just underneath your hips. Turn your attention to your pelvis by placing your hands on your hip bones. And so let your feet be about hip width a distance apart here as we come into that first chair pose. So bend your knees, send your tailbone back. Okay, now layer an inhale here. So inhale, soft perineum area. Exhale, come out to that tall place, squeeze on your legs, lift your pelvic floor, feel the strength of your whole body here. Stand tall. Okay, explore that two more times. All right, knees go forward, pelvis goes back. Soft breath in. And steady standing. Squeeze on your leg muscles and return to the top. Release the movement, stand your legs a little wide, come back into that mudra where right hand is close to the body, cross at the wrist, bend your knees. Okay, so this is that gathering in, feel your strength. As you begin your inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, circle it around, bend your knees, and send your tailbone back comfortably. Okay, so maybe it's here. Okay, gather it in, reach it up, inhale. Maybe you circle it around, bend it in. Maybe your fingertips sweep closer towards the floor. Okay, so to thy own self be true. Just breathe and move. These are called moon circles with the mudra. Okay, the next time you drift into center, release the movement, release your arms, and turn both toes over to the right. Bend in into that front leg. Start to squeeze on your leg muscles. And then let's have a variation of Warrior One with the left arm reaching up. Okay, so find the most comfortable place. Maybe you like straight up here, but really the connection is using the arm position to help stretch the psoas at the hip. All right, once you've found a comfortable arm position, soft breath in, soft breath out. One more. Release your arm, come back through the center, cross into the mudra. Gather it and steady it, all right? So feel your legs. Inhale, reaches up. Exhale, releases out. Bend into the knees. Gather it in, breathe in, and release out. Turn your toes over to the left. All right, so give yourself time to adjust your feet, to steady the bottom, bend in. Okay, that one arm reach, right arm reaches up. All right, so yoga is that self-reflective process. What do you notice about this side versus the other? All right, see if you can engage your leg muscles to help support the reach. Breathe. Release the arm down. Turn the toes back into the center. Okay, pause here for a moment. Take a breath. Okay, maybe notice your heart beating as you start to draw your body into a forward fold. Right, notice the position of the pelvis. Notice the stretch of the team of muscles in the legs, in the pelvis, in the low back. And maybe you let your head come below your heart. If your blood pressure feels a little low, keep your head above your heart. And then simply come back to steadying your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Enjoy the leg stretch. Just sense yourself breathing steady naturally. Because that's really what we want. We want things to be functionally, naturally, right? So we don't have to engage, just allowing those healthy patterns to keep us in a place of well-being. Right? And so for most of us, that means releasing tension patterns or finding healthy patterns to return to that place of ease. Okay, on the way back up, bend your knees, use your hands on your legs, support your upper body. Turn the right toe out, bend in, so finding a warrior two leg. So let's dip that right shoulder down towards the right knee. Right, so starting to run the hand down the inside of the thigh. Right, so you don't have to go very far. Right, if it's part of your practice to reach down towards the floor, you can do that. But find a place where you can steady, because we're going to take 2 more breathing cycles here. All right, so titrating a little work, but not too much. Breathe in. Breathe out. And one more. Release out of that. Draw your heel forward, 1 mudra circle. Bend in, gather it. Breathe in. Reach up. Release out. Warrior two legs over towards the left. Okay, so feel the bones moving. Start to steady your muscles. Engage your leg muscles. And then that variation of side angle where you bring your left shoulder down towards your left knee. Okay, so just be curious where your steady is. So this will give you a little clue too, right? Maybe you have one side where you reach further down to the floor easier, right? So it'll show us, we use the postures to reveal to ourselves where our strength or our tension lines are. Okay, so not forcing, not trying to make it look exactly the same. Just feel what's happening on the inside of the leg. And then in the most relaxed way that you can, breathe. Okay, return to the tall posture. Heel toe your feet back into standing neutral. Okay, so now you're standing tall in mountain. All right, so feel the light support of your legs. All right, notice the position of your pelvis to help support the spine and your head. And now we're going to have one standing balance. Place your hands on the top of your hip bones. Put a little bend in both knees, just a little bit. Okay, so from this place, start to squeeze on your leg muscles. As you begin shifting the weight to the left leg, begin lifting the right knee up. So have this feeling where you're gathered in at the pelvis, using your core to support. Okay, nice and easy. Step it wide and down. Stand tall, feel the energy go up. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Once again, stabilize. Put a little bend in your knees. Feel your weight shift over to the right leg. Okay, slowly start to lift the left knee. Gather the energy up through the pelvis. Feel your abdominals engage. Breathe. Release out. Stand tall. Feel yourself stand tall. Take a breath in. And in the most relaxed way you can, forward fold. I just feel all that efforting release down towards the earth. And sense the stretch at the back of the legs, at the back of the spine. And just allow your heart rate to slow down and your breath to smooth out. Okay, so we're going to continue with this hamstring stretch on the earth. So bring their back body down onto the earth. And then once you get down onto the earth, let both toes go up into the air. And then hold your legs where your shoulders are relaxing. Maybe you put a little bend in your knees. Okay, so turn your attention to your femur bones here, those big bones between the hips and the knees. So right now they're relatively in neutral. And now we're going to change the position where you take your knees out towards your armpits in that happy baby posture. Right, so maybe you hold on to your shins, your ankles, or the bottoms of your feet. Okay. If it feels a little too much to be in this stretch, you can draw your feet towards each other and find a more of a bound angle posture. Okay, now maybe add a little bit of rocking, massaging the back body. Okay, just notice, remembering that the psoas attaches to that femur bone. All right, releasing some tension so that the legs and the hips can move freely, so we can stand better and move better. Okay, release your heels down. Drop your knees over to the left. Take a gentle twist here. Let all the tension just roll. Take a steady breath in. A slow, light breath out. Just notice how the breath expands and contracts. Okay, up through the center. Over to the left or over to the opposite direction. Experience your breath. Okay, return the knees back into that centered place. When you're ready, inhale, arch your back. And then exhale, flatten your back. All right, go all the way to the end of the exhale and just pause there for one moment. Inhale, arch your back. Feel the pelvis moving into that back arch. Breath dropping into the lower lungs. And this time when you exhale, just let the spine drop into neutral. And then once you've found neutral, let's take rest. Slide the heels to the bottom of the mat. Maybe start to soften your eyes. Maybe even just rock the head just a little bit from side to side. Just releasing tension from that occipital ridge. And roll into center. Right, sense all the lighting in the room. And then maybe close your eyes and sense the light in that third eye space, that mind space. Just come into open awareness to any patterns of pockets of dark, light, color, movement. Just be curious of what's there. Sense the temperature of your skin. Maybe at your arms or your hands. Swallow. Sense your breath slowing down at your nose. Let's begin listening to all the sound in the room. Maybe the sound of your breath. Just let your bones grow heavy. And rest. And take a deeper breath into your body. Come back into the awareness of the weight of your body. Just steady and relaxed here on the mat. Okay, if you're interested in closing class with 3 chants of Om, come to a tall seat. Okay, this beautiful practice of yoga that allows us to return to center, a place of well-being, over and over and over again. Okay, maybe you formulate an intention to take with you. Prepare. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste.